that just says summer right there. It's sexy, it's kind of what I would expect on a sexy day boat. G'day guys, welcome to the walkthrough. Fjord 38 Xpress. As I said in the test drive, if you've come from the test drive video, welcome. If not, there is a test drive video and that's also available to view on this boat. Follow the link coming up on the screen or find it in the video description because I don't always upload them at the same time. Yeah, Fjord, built in Germany. Awesome boats. These guys brought sexy day boats, sexy med day boats to the mass market. You know, this style of boat, it started out with the Wallies, 20 years ago, I guess, with all your billionaire class, just getting into those and in the Mediterranean, obviously. And it was really the Fjord brand that took this style and brought it to the people. And the 38 Xpress, it's their entry model, but it is epic and totally suitable to Australia. This is what it's all about. It's a winter's day today. We're out of the wind. In the test drive, you'll see me wearing my jacket. It is quite cold, but on a boat like this, you can come in close, drop anchor, and enjoy yourself. So, yeah, anyway, this is the walkthrough. Let's get cracking because I don't want to lose that sun. So come on, let's just start at the back of the boat and we'll talk about as much as we see. But yeah, we're pretty much all on the one level on this boat. There's a little tiny step which we'll see when we go forward, but it's all level, beamy, spacious day boating activities is the vibe on this. And out here on the transom, as you can see, outboards. You have many options if you want to go with the outboards on these Fjords. You can go with the 350s like we have here. These are Mercs. You can go the 300 V8s. You can also go with Suzuki's or Yamahas as well. So you have choice. If you're a transom person, if you want to reverse up to your super yacht or your dock at your house and you don't want outboards, can do. Also possible to do inboards. But I'm going to show you why for our climate, I believe the outboards are going to be more popular. And actually this boat's already sold and it's going to Perth, so it's proving to be popular. Because of the storage locker in here and the way they have done it, it's absolutely amazing. I'm going to show you that at the end of the video, so keep watching if you're interested. But the way they've been mounted, jacking plates. Don't often see that on day boats, so that's cool. You can actually refine these boats with the jacking plates. So depending on what engines you get, what props you've got, if you want to tickle it up in the next season with some different props, you can actually adjust the vertical height of your motors to suit the ride perfectly. We've got 43 knots top speed, which is all you need on a boat like this. It's not about blasting around going as fast as you can. Yes, you can, but it's about enjoying the day, taking your mates, taking your family and enjoying this on a boat like this. So anyway, this platform here, that raises and get you into the access to the motors, and you can see it's all been quite professionally done down there. As we move forward on either side, you can see the transom on the outboard model goes out pretty much within about an inch to the back of these motors. So stepping off the back, if that was your only choice, is absolutely doable, but you've got plenty of space to step off at the side, and this would be where I'd be boarding this boat in most scenarios. You can hang on just here, step off like so, and we've got a bow thruster and combine that with the engines. I'm sure you can do joystick options as well if you want, so that's nice and easy. The next thing worth noting, this grab rail goes all the way forward, and it's a multi-function grab rail. It's also to be utilised for tying off the fenders, because you are going to be tying this up next to your 100 footer, well, some of you, and you are going to be going to marinas and you are going to be rafting up next to your mate. So that's going to be sensible for that. I can see the pop-up Fjord engraved logo cleats just here and a rope protector just there. And the next thing worth noting, nice chunky gunnels on this boat. So again, if you are stepping off on another boat, that's a good little step, so to speak, but it's also a great hangout like this, because you will be able to accommodate large groups on this boat and in many different functions, which we're going to get to in just a sec. Before we do, kid and doggy door just here. How chunky is that? That's good to see the Fjord logo in the middle there. That means petrol, it says gas, but that's for petrol. We have 2 tanks on this boat, independent, one for each motor. So you go through the kid and doggy door, you get petrol on either side, and that's where you fill it up. This just here is a manual bilge pump. There's obviously electric ones as well. But then we get into the main part of the boat. And I just want to, Anthony, I want to make sure everybody can see this. This is what it's all about on these day boats, because so many people in Australia now have realised how they enjoy their weekends and how they boat. And they just want to go out on the nice days, and they've got other things to do on the nasty days. And many people are going to also have another boat like this in the Med, and they're going to go with the seasons, like so many of you are right now, because our borders have been closed for 2 years. You've all disappeared to Europe, and that's a great lifestyle, and you could do that by having a bigger fjord in the Med and a fjord of this size in Sydney, because this is so easy to operate. You're not really going to stay the night on a boat like this. You've probably got a house close to the water, and when you're in Europe, sure, get the bigger one and stay the night. But this seating arrangement is super multifunctional. We'll have to cut to shots of this, but essentially these seats can fold like that and face aft. So you can have the best seat in the house when people are swimming or even running at speed, as long as you're careful. Facing out would look super cool. But that's not their only trick. So they'll go like this and like this. Then you can also lay them down all the way back, drop this table down as well, put the cushions, and also adjust these forward seats. So you have the option. Let me try and explain this. You can have both rows of seats facing forward. You can have both rows of seats facing aft. You can have the seats facing each other like this. Expand the table like so into lunch mode. That says to me 1, 2, 3, 4 plates. You can seat 8 people for lunch. And then electrically, you can actually press a button there. This will then drop down into a massive sun lounge. So it could be a sun lounge with backrests or a completely open flat day bed. I'm sorry, but how awesome is that? Like, that just says summer right there. And if you're worried about the sun, not a problem. So can you see up here? I think you call these things shore shades. But anyway, it's a big stainless steel, it concertinas into itself, these stainless steel rods, 1, 2, 3, and this will come out electrically and protect everyone here. So that's, a lot of boats have the poles, and you can actually also do that on the bow on this boat with the mesh shades, and they're fine. Like, you just have carbon poles or aluminium, but this is just so much easier. Just press a button and out you go. So setting yourself up for lunch, having it coming out of a nice solid T-top like this makes life a lot easier. And that leads me to the T-top whilst we're here. So this is the optional hard T-top. And I think for our market, you gotta go for it. It's solid as, it's really, really strong. You can, look, hang off it. You can mount this sunshade off it, and compared to the standard one, which is a sexy shape, but it's a material T-top, I think for Australia, this is, personally, this would be my choice. Look, you do you. If you're just using it as a tender function and running out to your big boat, that's fine. But if you're maybe, as I imagine, a lot of Australians are going to use it as your Sydney Harbour day boat, and you have your other boats elsewhere, maybe go for this T-top. It's got mood lighting, or strip lighting I should say. It's got down lights, and it's incredibly well supported. I've got this black aluminium frame going around the fiberglass, and then the T-top structure itself is fiberglass with 4 glass windows built into it. So that's really good. I like that. So the next thing we're talking about is the decks. This is FlexiTeak. Really good looking, super low on the maintenance. So we do have some real teak. The table is real teak. We've got real teak just and the midships, solid, big, thick piece of teak there, and at the bar and also going down below. So there's a couple little spots which will either require maintenance or attention, and then the rest of it is flexi teak. So rather than having the whole deck's flexi teak, real teak, I should say, which are going to need annual attention, they've just cut that down and made it a little bit easier for you. Now underneath these seats you've got storage, and then underneath these seats you've got fridges. So I'm going to focus on this bit now. This one's got the optional extra fridge just here, but we've got 1 and 2 fridge just there, and 3 fridge here. So that'll do stand-up bottles. Got the little freezer drawer just here, and you can lie down all your bottles in here as well. We then have a little sink just here. Not sure if that's hot and cold, but I did see, actually that must be hot and cold because I saw a hot water cylinder downstairs. So it conveniently designed so you can place a couple little bits and pieces there which won't fall over, and then you could also do a little bit of prepping just forward of the sink, so that's sensible. Shallow sink, but it's kind of all you need really. This is just a picnic boat. Then just on starboard side, hopefully you can see that. So this is going to be perfect place for storing. Okay, your serving platters will go well down here, and cups and other bits and pieces, your serviettes will go quite well. And I really do see people setting this up as purely a picnic boat. Like, I wouldn't be loading this boat up with everything in the kitchen sink like you would have at home, because it's not really the vibe they're going for. This is for having a luxury lunch, get out your prawns and your oysters and all that sort of stuff, and you probably don't even bring them on the boat. You probably just go pick them up from the fish markets anyway. So that's this area, and here you're absolutely under the shade, and also it's worth noting these people are always under the shade at all times, and even when these seats would be facing forward, they're still going to be protected from the T-top because it finishes here. So these people are always protected, them not so much, and then when this is out, we'll find that out in a second. A couple of things I didn't point out on the starboard side as I was making my way forward. There's a really nice swim shower on the starboard side, and your shore power is midships at starboard. But now I'm going to focus on the helm. So Anthony, come up, you go up the starboard side and I'll stay on port, and let's talk about the helm. I like this helm. It's very accessible, the visibility is excellent, and you feel cool. So that's important too. But the moving around, so if you've got multiple people, when you're not driving, you still feel like there's enough space for people to move around the boat and relax and use this area as just a place to converse with your mates. So that's fine, and you can see people coming up out of the cabin, moving forward and aft. That's all going to work. But from an operational perspective, the design of these seats is great because they allow you to sit your bum up on it and raise your height. So a short bloke like me driving in the ocean, and like I had last week, I wasn't in the ocean, but there was a lot of whales around. I would appreciate some extra visibility when there's heaps of whales because I don't want to run into them. And so sitting up here, being able to put my feet on the footrest just gives me that little bit extra bit of height if I'm on a longer trip and I don't feel like standing. And then sitting down, you feel really cocooned and protected in here. Like I would feel super safe. The wind just went over my head. I noticed the wind vortices were sort of like starting about here with this windscreen, and on the side it kind of tracked like this and then curled in a little bit. So I was fine at the helm, but if I put my head out like this, I might blow my hat off, depending on how fast I was going. So you do sort of notice the wind passing at about this angle just here. But let's come back to the helm and I'll just point everything out. It's sexy. It's kind of what I would expect on a sexy dayboat. But it's well designed too, because the throttle is set back a little bit, so that's comfortable on your throttle hand. The wheel is adjustable, so you'd have your left hand on the wheel, your right hand on the throttle. You got your little safety kill switch just here on port. Starting from starboard, working my way over to port, I've got the jet thruster. Used one of them for the first time today. Works fine. It's pretty good. A little bit, you got to get used to it, but yeah, I'd be happy with that. The quick anchor windlass just here, so that's anchor up and down, gives me my depth. Got a key start for the engines just here. I've got my bank of switches just here, things like your horn, your lights, etc. Drink holders, 1, 2, 3, just here at the helm. A perfect phone spot and charging just there. Fusion operation for the stereo. This one has been set up with a single screen. So I've got the single SIMRAD currently with engine diagnostics. I can obviously run whatever I like on that. You can have the option to do dual screens if you wish, but we have got the Mercury engine displays on this one. So yeah, you do you, but it's possible. Compass just there. We've got the black dash just here. It is like a, what would this be, like a Perspex, I guess. I didn't have any glare issues of this black, so that was fine. Didn't have an issue in the sun. And then we've got the white fiberglass forward just here. The entrance to the cabin is quite nicely finished actually. You've got solid teak surrounds, stainless steel handle, and then a Perspex door, and quite a deep drain, which looks like it's hinged. That would actually be a good place to store shoes and thongs if you wanted to just get them off the decks. Grab handle here, here, and here, so you're never struggling for things to hold on to as you move your way around the boat. So moving forward, there is, when I mentioned it's a flat deck, it's all one deck, you've got a step right here of like 1 inch. So you're definitely not going to trip up on that or it's not going to provide any hindrance to access forward. So I would basically just call this a flat deck. We do have courtesy lights dotting all the way around the decks as well, so you can illuminate the floor to look cool and not ruin your night vision. I can see water in, and I reckon waste out is going to be on the other side. So let's go forward and look at the bow. As I'm coming forward, Fjord, they always do sexy windscreens, and this is no different. This is a nice curved Perspex windscreen bolted on in 4 places with the logo in the middle. Stainless steel surrounds for the nav lights, and I think they got the design really, really right on this one. When you look at it from the drone, the bow sticks out, you know, it's quite a long bow on this boat. And then when it gets to the line of the windscreen and the T-top, with the T-top hanging out at the aft, it just looks cool. It looks right and it looks cool. So well done. So a couple of windows here on port. We'll find out if there's any more on starboard. This here, below here, is all going to be the cabin. So the unique thing about this is they really are focusing on the 38 Xpress as being a day boat. A lot of boats you'll see a big sun lounge up here, and look, that's fine, but we've already got a sun lounge, the world's biggest sun lounge at the back of the boat, and this is just another social area for people of all ages to come out and hang out and enjoy a meal. So I think from a day boat perspective, this is more day boat, because who really goes out and overnights on these boats? You can, and people do, but it's not, I don't feel like that's going to be the primary focus for people focusing on buying a boat like this for themselves. So, you know, we've got space for 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and more, plenty of space. You can, I won't try not to put my feet on that, you can lie down on this. This table clearly removes, and we've also got a hatch going down below and some mood lights. The Flexi Teak carries itself forward, and then we've got these gunnels get even wider as we move our way up onto the bow. So let's have a look at the bow. So come up and have a look, guys. It's actually a bit of a dance floor if it needs to be. I could see that actually happening in Ibiza and Sydney Harbour at certain times of the year. So this would be fine for boarding people from the bow. So if you were just nudging up against a hard dock, you would be able to have good visibility from the helm, use your jet thruster, and just come in, because you have the rubber sides, just nudge the boat up against a pole and get someone on and off at Watson's Bay, for example, if you're collecting your fish and chips or extra friends. So that is possible. We've obviously got the fixed bow roller on the bow, and the anchor looks like a quick anchor windlass, professionally mounted, stainless chain, stainless, I think it was a stainless anchor, I can't remember actually. You can clearly operate it from here as well. And we've got a gas strut for the hatch just here. So that's all pretty stock standard, good high quality stuff that I would expect to see. And a couple of flush cleats on the bow. So we've got bow cleats and stern cleats on this boat. And then we have the grab rail moving all the way forward and aft. So I think it's time to check out the cabin, guys. Let's go see what it's like down below. Okay, so to get downstairs, you got the sliding companionway door here, unlock, slide it across. It's a pretty, it's a solid one, so it doesn't actually want to freely side when the boat rocks around. So you go down one step, you've just got this grated step here, which has got it's quite deep. It's also a drain, and that would be perfect for storing your thongs, as I mentioned. And then you get down into the cabin, and you've got one more teak step before you step onto this like bamboo-y, carpety kind of floor. And this is quite plush. And I think what I like about the design concept on this boat is it's trying to be a day boat. So we've got everything we need for a comfortable night for two. We've got everything we need to keep people happy with a toilet during the day. And that's it. And that's the idea. So we have like a Korean type bench top here. We have another fridge just here. We've got our light switch operation here. These are fancy little stainless steel lights go up and down, and more lights underneath here. You've got just enough space to put bits and pieces. So a couple of drawers here and here. And then that's good for laptops and phones and that sort of thing. And then you also have another storage area underneath the step just here, which is sensible for shoes and bits and pieces. If you've got a little gear grab bag, or an overnight bag, so to speak, the perfect place for those are on these ledges on either side. I'm just going to take my shoes off. I don't like getting on people's beds with shoes on, and I'll try this out. So come down and have a bit of a look. But from a sleeping perspective, I feel like you probably sleep like this maybe, because you got more height just here, and this is fine. Yeah, you can roll around, or two people could roll around. So very comfortably, you could still sit up like this when you need to get up and get out of bed. And these ledges here are perfect for those overnight bags, and on this side as well. And the other thing I note, it looks like they have built-in wireless charging points into each ledge, so they've thought about the finer details. I can see some speakers tucked in up in the void just here. We got a nice bed head, or back of the bed head, I guess you would call that, with some fancy finished features and some strip lighting, finishing it all off. Strip lighting in both cupboard sides, and even this is soft furnishing here. That's obviously following the contours of the hull itself. So from an overnight perspective, like, this is perfect. This is more than you'd want. Am I missing anything? No, that all looks pretty good. The roof finish here is a fiberglass, but then when you get to the toilet compartment, it's got this nice textured finish wrapped in timber. And so you're not just looking at fiberglass everywhere. It's actually got quite a plush feel when you combine it with the stone and the timber as well. Let's go in the head and have a look. So from this area here, sitting on the bed, you can then transition to standing up. So standing up here, I've still got a few inches above my head here, and the roof line carries up. So the further you get towards the companionway, the more head height you have. The super tall blokes are going to have an issue. You've got some ventilation from these two opening windows here. And then on the port side, running down here, you've got all your operations. So bilge pump, master vault, main battery switches, your primary fusion control. The secondary one is upstairs. Your battery, so that's your 12 volt and 240 volt. So AC/DC panels just there. And toilet door. It's a Dan-sized toilet door. Look at this. So it's a cute door. So you enter into the bathroom. That's quite fancy. So we've got some teak. I'll just sit on the loo so you guys can see. This looks like this is a shower/bathroom. So we've got some sort of water repellent surface here. I don't know if this opens. Let's have a little feel. Yes, I'm not sure actually. I don't want to play with that. You've got 240 power here. This is a ledge. Oh, I think the whole ledge will come out if you want it to. I don't know if that opens. Oh, that's me pressing the toilet. So, big mirror. Toilet operation next to my waste just here. That was me operating it. And then holding tank indicator there. Nice leather wrapped handles getting into the storage area. So you could do an overnight toiletry bag, 2 people, 1 on each side, and then you can have glue rolls and then some other cleaning gear below that. So everything that you would need. And then standing up, if you're going to have a shower, it's still possible like so. And this is all a wet area with a ledge on the floor to stop any of that water draining into the cabin. It's going to go to the drain just there. And then opening window just there for letting out the steam. Cool, that's all you need. Okay, so I've just electrically opened this area, and this is my argument as to why this layout of the Fjord 38 Xpress is going to be appealing to a lot of Aussies. And it's also, I've had a bit to do with Fjords for the best part of the last decade. They are maturing as a brand and they are improving, because what I see down here is fantastic. I get into so many of these boats that are optional for inboard/outboard, and they have a beautiful big storage area where an engine could optionally be, or perhaps used to be. But the hatch often opens that way, so into the boat, and then you get down here. Yes, it's a big storage area, but there's wiring looms everywhere. There's gen sets, there's batteries. And you know what? If I've got one of those big floaty mat thingamajiggies and I want to just throw them into my storage area, that might not be such a good idea with wiring looms and electronics all around. So what Fjord have sensibly done down here is protected everything. Yes, the wiring looms are here, but they're all behind a wall, so to speak. So on starboard, just there, we've got our hot water tank. It's all protected away, and then on port, to balance out that weight, we've got our engine crank batteries. Through this hatch, and I'm going to have to cut to some shots of this, is your independent fuel tanks. So on port and starboard, you've got the tanks, one on either side. Centrally mounted, you've got the water tank. Your holding tank is down there as well. So all the weight balanced in the center of the boat and in its own separate place. There's blowers for the tanks as well for safety. But through all these hatches, where you have your 3 house batteries, are also mounted in that central area, where your crank batteries are here balanced off with the hot water tank. And then all of these opening hatches here are things like your inverter charger, fuses, wiring looms, etc. And then at the back of the boat, your power steering and your fuses. So really sensible, everything's accessible, but it's protected from your toys, because this is what this area is. I can see those electric little jet skis. I can see, not the jet skis, the things that pull you through the water. Anyway, you know what I'm talking about. They would fit perfectly here and here. The foam mats, obviously, and all sorts of other things, wakeboards, other toys would fit perfectly, and then they're immediately accessible to the ocean where you're going to use them. So sensible, mature, good thinking. Thanks, Fjord. Great. Well, if this doesn't give you enough perspective of how many of your closest friends can join you on the Sun Lounge, I don't know what will. But that's it, guys. Thanks for coming for a bit of an exploration of this super awesome Dayboat with me. But what's my wrap up? If you are looking for an epic dayboat, if you are mature in your thought process about what you want to do with your days on the water, if you've probably had a few boats before and recognise that you don't perhaps sleep in all those cabins on your boat because you just go out in the day. If that's you, if you're social, if you want to combine all that into the best memories possible, I think you should have a look at this Fjord 38 Xpress. My name's Dan Jones. This has been Dan's Boat Life. See you on the next one.